Making all this happen is Charlotte Ann Lucas and her staff at Nowcast. That's a nonpartisan, nonprofit online news organization that has been described as like public television on the internet. Also here, not visible, but here is Madhu Schroeder, the president of the League of Women Voters of the San Antonio area. Tonight's forum features candidate for council place 2, Josh Stevens, and place 4 candidates, Rey Orozco and Philip Campos. Place 2 candidate, Catherine Rodriguez, was unable to attend. Her email address, as well as the email addresses of the other candidates, will be posted in the chat on the YouTube channel. So anyone who wants to ask them questions at another time can email them and they will respond to them. Questions were submitted in advance by Leon Valley residents. Viewers may continue to ask questions in the chat function on the YouTube channel, and they'll be forwarded to me in case we are able to accommodate questions beyond the ones that were submitted early. We plan to wrap it up around 7 o'clock, so anyone who wants to be able to see the vice presidential debate can get ready for it in time. Each candidate will be asked to answer each question. We'll start in ballot order, and the order will be rotated. So Josh Stevens will be the first to, with the opening statement and the first question. The second round will start with Rey Orozco and so forth. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement and a closing statement, and 1.5 minutes for each answer. We ask that the responses focus on the candidates' views and their own ideas, and not to criticize their opponents' views. This is a time to talk about yourself and your ideas. There should be no interruptions, and we expect civility all around. Microphones can be muted. We don't expect that to have to happen. I know everybody will be civil. Audience members, on the other hand, can stomp, clap, scream, whatever they want, because they're in their own living rooms and nobody's going to hear them but themselves. That's a good thing about a virtual forum. So it's time to get this underway. The first opening statement starts with Josh.
Guys, thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting this on. And I also wanted to send a thank you to Nowcast SA for helping us out with this event as well. So a lot of people have asked me, as I've been going through the neighborhoods, why would you want to run for council? Why do you think that Leon Valley Council is the right thing for you? And for me, I'm not a politician at all. I'm a business guy. I'm a former registered nurse. I have now I have business experience, but no politician experience. But nonetheless, I've realized that throughout the past several years, the government in Leon Valley hasn't really worked for us. It's worked more or less against us. And because of that, it's kind of prompted me to want to go in and fix it or make things better, to the best of my ability. So I feel that I would be a good candidate that would be a person that you could tell your concerns to and where you'll actually have them addressed. So nonetheless, I'll go ahead and pass the mic back to you, Glenda.
Okay, next is Rey Orozco, 2 minutes. Oh, you are muted, Rey. Can we unmute Rey? There we go.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for the League of Women Voters, and I thank Nowcast San Antonio for putting on this event. My name is Rey Orozco, and I am honored and humbled to be able to serve the people in Leon Valley, at least be put in the opportunity to serve the people in Leon Valley. I was born in El Paso, Texas, and I was raised on the west side of town, right there on Tampico and Comel, not too far from the Union Stockyards. Moved to the south side of town, and I graduated from Brackenridge High School, where I immediately joined the military. And joining the military, I also took my studies up, continued my studies in criminology, law enforcement, and constitutional law. I got discharged with an honorable discharge, and I started working at IDL Murphy Veterans Hospital, where it was the best years of my life. They taught me everything from mediation to investigations to how to deal with employees. I had over 200 employees at ID Murphy, and with 200 different views and concerns. Despite of what has transpired in Leon Valley for the past year and a half, and all the controversy, and I still think that Leon Valley is a great, great town, a great city. And that is why I'm running for city council, because I'm not going to be part of the problem. I'm going to be part of the solution. Thank you. I guess we lost our mediator, you know?
We're just letting it run down, I think. Okay, and then Philip will be unmuted. There we go. Okay. Need to be unmuted. There we go. Okay, your turn.
Well, good evening. My name is Philip Campos, and I'm running for City Council, Place 4 in Leon Valley. We're having an echo, so my wife and I moved here 41 years ago as newlyweds. We've lived in 3 different neighborhoods throughout the city. We've raised 3 of our children here. You may remember us from the school participation at Marshall as being involved in there's significant feedback here. So I'm going to keep going. You know, we love to live in Leon Valley. As many of you know, this is the first time I run for city council. As a way of background, I graduated from Texas A&M in a degree in accounting. I've attained my CPA in 1986. My professional career has spanned over 41 years. The last 16 years, it's been in local government, where I'm currently the contracting director for SAWS. Some of the reasons we live in Leon Valley is a perfect location. It's got great public service, both fire and police, with city services like parks and parks recreation. Over the last several years, we've seen changes in our city government. Articles in the newspaper do not feature our city in a positive light. The reason why I'm grinning and laughing is the feedback in here is tremendous.
I'm sorry, you sound fine to the rest of the world. So,
right, but it's very you can't concentrate.
Right.
Answer the questions.
We can unplug your microphone and go for straight out in a second. We're going to have to readjust your mic. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to unplug it?
All right.
You're going to have to, Philip, you're going to have to adjust your mic the way we did before.
About now.
Okay, talk to us.
I can hear you, but there's significant feedback. You want me to plug it back in?
Yeah, I think so. Everybody else is muted. And adjust your mic again, the way you do it on the screen.
Now?
Okay, you sound better. Does it sound better to you?
There's still an echo.
Choose the next one down.
How
How
about,
are you doing? How do you sound to yourself?
I sound fine, but I can hear myself in the earphones.
Um, try one more adjustment and see if that works. Try the next selection on your headphones.
How about now?
You tell me.
Still hear the echo. We'll continue.
Perhaps you can pull those off of your ear and speak into the microphone so that you're not being, but speak into the mic, into the headphone microphone. Speak into the headphone microphone.
Can you say something?
Speak into the microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, you can't hear us unless you're wearing them, so
Right.
you're gonna have
Okay.
to soldier on.
All right, let's go. So, to my fellow candidates, I'm sorry about the inconvenience.
Okay.
Glenda, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're unmuted now.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to say, or were you pretty much wrapped up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Okay, so we are ready for the first question, and this starts with Philip. What I have done is kind of group the questions into topics that are similar, which may not stay all the way through, because if we get some wonderful questions from the YouTube audience, they won't fit into the categories, but we'll start that way. The first couple of questions are about the city charter. So here's the first one. Now I'm getting feedback, but it's okay. There are 29 proposed charter amendments on the ballot. Do you have strong opinions on whether those should be approved or which ones should not?
Who are we starting with?
We're starting with Josh.
Okay, so I hope you can hear me, and I apologize. I think I brought the bad juice to the party that caused all our technology to not work. But anyway, so as far as the 29 amendments that are on the Home Rule Charter, I think there are some of the amendments that are actually okay, where they may have a mild positive impact on the community and on the people of Leon Valley. But unfortunately, I think they're largely insufficient. And they're missing a lot of substance that's going to actually prevent us from occurring in the same position, in the same problems that we've been having in Leon Valley. So I've been telling people, and my followers, to just vote against the amendments, because it's easier to remember to vote against all of them than a couple of them here and there. And especially it's at the end of the ballot, there's ballot fatigue and all of that. But overall, I think some of the amendments are okay, but there's nothing in there that's significant enough where we need it. It's not a significant change. And there are several of the amendments that, if implemented, they will cause more havoc, more political drama and turmoil throughout the city. And I think it's important to gear away from that, just so our government can start focusing on the people of Leon Valley instead of the problems of the past.
Okay. Ray, it's your turn. Ray?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Philip, no need to apologize. We've been struggling with this for two days. I also agree that some of the changes are in mute, that very small changes, and some of them are going to make a significant change in the way we continue on. I believe that all of them should be changed, even though it is mute as they are. and to bring continuity into the city council and into the charter. And I believe that they all should be changed. Thank you.
Okay, Philip.
All right. So I'm supportive of most of the changes. It's unclear. We had a citizen at the city council last night who voiced, "Hey, where do you get the background for this?" But when they were formed, it was through a process where we were at the Leon Valley Civic Center, and some of these are quite interesting, and I think we should implement a few of these. One that comes to mind is the amendment where if you fail to continuously reside in the city limits during the term of office, that you shall forfeit the office. I think it's a very important item, and all of these should be gone over thoroughly before as you vote. Again, these were developed by citizens here in Leon Valley, and they should be considered one by one. Thank you.
Okay. Second question starts with Ray. Do you support the city's home rule charter, or do you support returning to general law, and why?
I don't support the home rule charter. I believe it takes too much power away from the mayor. The mayor is who runs the city, not the city manager or anybody else. It's city council and city manager. And general law or city charter, it doesn't really matter, because if you're not working together to try to make it work, whether you have a mayor, a city council, a city manager that is not going to be working together, it doesn't matter what you have. It's imperative that we have a city charter for several more years now. It's imperative that we work together to make it work with what we have. And thank you.
Okay. And let's see. And where are we now? I have gotten lost. Who didn't answer? Or are we finished? No?
I think I'm next.
Okay.
So I'm in support of
Philip
the
is
home rule
next.
charter. It was something that was put together with the citizens several years ago and explained quite thoroughly. We all know it failed the first time it came into the voters, and the voters put this in place. The charter should be no surprise to anyone, including the mayor or any of the council members. It clearly explains explicitly in the city charter what was to happen. And I think when it was being decided by the voters, what Leon Valley was looking for was additional power to make local ordinances that's not allowed by the other form of government. And so I think for that, I think we ought to continue the path that the citizens voted on. Thank you.
Okay. Let's wait till the clock resets. There we go. Josh.
Hey, so when we're approaching this issue of home rule charter or general law city, and when we voted on it in 2017, I think the citizens thought that it's going to grant some more power to the governing body so that they could better serve the community, so they could better serve the citizens that elected them, so the community would be better as a whole. And I think the problem with our home rule charter is that it has some phrases, some ambiguous phrases, such as shall deal with, that are very subjective and not objective. And I believe that that's going to only lead to more turmoil, more dysfunction, more political drama, more theater. And I don't think until we go back and are able to actually address the true issues that need to be solved in the charter, such as the ambiguous phrases, the members of the majority, 3 out of 5 of the councilors, are always going to be able to target members of the minority. And as we saw throughout last summer, and as we're seeing now, facts don't matter. And that's a problem when you have when 3 people can start throwing out 2 of the, one at a time of the other 2 people on council, it creates for this hostile environment that just, it drags everybody down. It drags the community down. And so I think as general law, as a governing body, the people will come first.
Thank you. Okay, the next question starts with Philip. These next few questions deal with the future of Leon Valley. If elected, what are your goals or vision for moving the city forward?
I think the first goal we should have is reevaluating our budget as well as our water rates, trying to figure out how we can do things better quality, but at a lower price. Changing our procurement practices, as well as just cooperating with one another. Once we have new members, whoever's elected, I think you'll see a better spirit of cooperation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next one goes to next person is Josh.
Okay. Yes, it's me. So, when looking at goals for the city, I want to encourage everybody that's watching right now to go to votejoshstevens.com/issues, because I've actually outlined the top 7 issues that I think I would want to address at the very beginning, and I've actually categorized them also. So in order of most important to lesser important. I think all of them are actually somewhat important, because that's what the people of Leon Valley want. And so I have addressing water rates. So I agree with Mr. Campos on that. I also think that we need to address the problem of government working for the people. And to do that, it's going to probably take a little bit of change. It's going to involve having a city manager that, instead of seeking to represent herself and her own interests and her team of followers, we have a city manager that gets in there that wants to actually advocate for the citizens of the community and for the businesses of the community. And I think right now that's what we're completely missing. And that's one of the biggest problems with the city, is that right now we have, some staff that have prioritized their own interests above those of all the people in the community. And so it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of perseverance by the city council members. But I think in the end, we can make government actually work for the people instead of against them.
Thank you. Ray.
We cannot go forward until city council starts working together. It doesn't matter what we try to implement. It's city council that's going to have to work together for any future endeavor, whether it be small businesses, whether it be the parks, whether it be the pools, whether it be the Bandera Road project. City council is going to have to work together. They might not have to agree on everything, but they can work to go at least 50% to try to work and meet halfway to make it happen. We are not going to accomplish anything until we all work together in the future. Thank you.
Okay, next question. Leon Valley's business community has been hurting for years as new businesses move to new neighborhoods outside Loop 1604. What would you do to improve conditions for successful businesses' growth here? First question goes to Josh.
Okay, so as a business owner in Leon Valley, and as somebody that's gone and talked to a lot of the business owners along Bandera Road, I have gained a lot of insight and knowledge into what their issues are and what their problems are, and the daily obstacles that they go through. And I think there's a combination of factors that are going to have to be changed in order to bring or retain good businesses in Leon Valley. And I think it starts from the top down. So it starts with getting somebody in there that has business experience, business knowledge, and also somebody that's willing and able to form really strong relationships with the business owners along Bandera Road. So I think that's crucially important, and that's something we definitely have to look at. Another thing is, I think we need to make sure that when we have regulations in place for the businesses of Leon Valley, that those regulations actually make sense, and that they're in place only to benefit the citizens of Leon Valley, maybe the people traveling through, and the businesses themselves. But adding a bunch of cumbersome regulations to businesses really infringes upon their ability to be successful. So I think those, and there's many other things that probably need to be adjusted to become more business friendly. But those are some starters.
Thank you. Okay, Ray.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I don't think the small businesses or any business in Yellow Valley should have to jump through hoops to try to get anything accomplished. A good example was a prominent businessman in Leon Valley tried to sell his property to another business owner in Leon Valley. And I understand the rules and regulations that govern in the 3 steps. It just seems that it took forever. And no city business director should be able to alter that at all. Just to give you an example, I went to the town hall meeting and I informed the business director, a friend of mine is thinking about opening up a Dunkin' Donuts here or another donut company. He goes, oh, no. We already have a donut company here. I go, excuse me? So you're not going to invite another business to come into Leon Valley? We need somebody that knows the business, knows how to bring business into Leon Valley, and be more business friendly.
Okay, and Philip.
So we can be as business friendly as we need, but I think some of the things that hinder our businesses is the lack of leadership at City Hall. And I'm talking about our elected officials to set the vision on what we want to do as a city organization. If we continue to turn over our senior staff at the City Hall in terms of our working staff, paid staff, it just shows that we're in complete turmoil. I think we need some consistency at our leadership. That way we can follow the vision of what the council wants, even stopping the regulations that are adopted by the council. So I think once we get some consistency at city council, I think more businesses won't shy away from staying or coming into the city of Leon Valley.
Thank you. Okay, the next question. Do you agree with a boulevard or parkway concept for Bandera Road with pedestrian and bicycle safe access? First question goes to Ray.
I totally agree with the boulevard concept, but you need to remember that the Bandera Road project is to alleviate congestion and to do more traffic flow as best as possible. I think Leon Valley has to step it up a little bit more with this. The landscape that surrounds Bandera is horrendous. Even to this day right now, if it wasn't for the weeds, we wouldn't have any vegetation at all. And it looks unsightly. It is not appealing. And I believe that the boulevard is established, which I think is going to be a great deal. I think that Leon Valley should step it up, do the landscaping, and make it appealing to the people that go up and down Bandera. A good example of this is Stone Oak. Stone Oak median is excellent. It complements the businesses around them, and I believe that we can do the same thing. I believe that I'm not blaming Public Works for not cutting the grass. I don't believe that we're given the money to do so, but I think that we should take advantage of this. We should take advantages, and Leon Valley should step up and go ahead and add to this, regardless of what money we have to put in there, in order to make our businesses more appealing and be able to attract more customers. Thank you.
Okay, Philip.
I believe the boulevard is going to be a viable solution. We have a lot of traffic that's coming through Leon Valley. 70,000 cars that are coming through there on a regular basis. It's higher than any other road near us, whether you're measuring Babcock or any other major thoroughfare. So looking for the boulevard, very interested in how it's going to be developed by TxDOT.
Okay. Josh.
So There we go. So I think I agree with the other two. So this is something, we all have in common that, and it's because what I've heard from citizens is that they want the boulevard concept. And that's the number one reason why I think we should do the boulevard concept. But also to substantiate that wish, I've heard that they want it for a variety of reasons. It's because it's going to ensure their property rates don't decrease significantly, which is what would happen if we put an overpass. To make sure that we still feel like a community instead of feel like we're divided by a big bridge. So, those are just a couple of the reasons that I'm in favor of the boulevard concept. But the other thing is that, boulevards of the 21st century are not like boulevards of the 20th century. And I don't know how many citizens have driven to the Bandera Point area over the past 5 years or so, ever since they did the significant changes at Bandera in 1604, but the way that they did the street structures, and it seems chaotic, but it's like an organized chaos where traffic is able to flow through, but it still feels like it's not a divided city. There is a bridge, mind you, 1604 of course is a bridge, but going on Bandera Road is a boulevard type of concept. And I think we could do that, maybe spice it up a little bit more, and it would be great for Leon Valley.
Okay. That's what happens when you go over your limit. Get the gong.
Oh my goodness.
If I could very quickly, Philip, when you're speaking, you're doing an awesome job. Just keep that microphone in front of you, not below your chin.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a question here from the YouTube group that is one that we hadn't had another one on, so I'm going to insert it here in the middle of it. As the pandemic continues, what is your philosophy and approach to how the city should operate going forward? Would you advocate remaining closed until COVID is eradicated, or do you have a different approach? First answer is for Philip.
We're going to have to open up City Hall. We're going to have to take some, health measures, security measures to make sure everyone in the building is safe. Sure, we want to have that completely open, but we have to consider the safety of our staff. I think we can do a lot of things virtually from home, but there's nothing like interfacing with our public, our constituents, our residents here in Leon Valley in person. So it's got to be a combination of both. It may be where we have some of the employees working from home some part of the week and then coming back, but we're going to have to open up City Hall and the courts as well.
Thank you. Josh?
So similar to Philip, I mean, it's inevitable. We're going to have to open back up. I think it was interesting last night. There was a really valid point made by one of the people that went up to the podium and spoke. And he said, you know what? We get a flu we have a flu vaccine every year and people still get the flu. The flu is not eradicated. It's never going to go away. And, mind you, every year there's a different number of people that are affected by the flu. But I think in a similar fashion, but with more guard, we can address the problem of COVID and start to function again, start to get businesses back open, start to not, over-regulate them, regulate them with reasons, and make sure everything is rational. But aside from that, I think it's in everybody's best interest if we're able to, open back up like we normally would be, but with safety guards in effect. And what else was really interesting was our city got given about $630,000 of CARES Act money. And it baffled my mind because last night they talked about 200,000 of it that we're going to be giving back to Bexar County because we didn't use it. And I don't get it. I don't know why we aren't using that to give it to businesses to help them open back up safely. But nonetheless, we need to get back to some sense of normalcy with reason.
Okay, thank you. And Ray.
I totally agree with the other two candidates, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we will eventually open to the fullest. But right now, we need to take precautions. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast nowadays. We have to protect the people around us. We got to protect ourselves. I trust in the scientists that are working on this, and eventually, I believe that God willing, we'll go ahead and conquer this evil. And but I do agree with the two candidates. We have to bring some type of normalcy back into our lives. We do have to open up, even if it's in increments. We do need to open up, and I think Philip put it well. We need to have that face-to-face communications with our families, our friends, and our co-workers. And I trust the scientists, and we're going to accomplish that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oops, got a new message here. Okay, got some good questions coming up. Okay, got a couple of questions on staff functions. Who do you think should set city policy, the city manager or the city council? First answer is for Josh.
Okay, so this is a simple one for me. The government is the people, and we live in a democratic government, a representative democracy, and so citizens elect people to represent them and to make the decisions for them, and to hire the right people that are going to do the job that the citizens, the people at the very top, or what should be the top of the of the organizational chart, what they want. And I think it's it's the city council's job to set policy, because in the end they have to find the common ground, and they have to set policy that isn't bad for their staff, but also policy that makes sense for the people that elected them and the people that put them in office. So I think I'll wrap it up there.
Okay, thank you. Ray?
That's a simple one. And I'm going to piggyback on what Mr. Stevens was saying. The people created the government, not city staff. The people trust with their votes to put somebody in there to make laws, to make regulations, and to run the city, not the staff. So mine's a simple question. The people, the city council, should make the rules and regulations that govern the people.
Okay, and Philip?
So the issue is who's going to make the policy. It will be city council, but we've got to have a city council that's on all, have got views and can come to a consensus of how they're going to do things, so that we can give the vision and the plan to the executives at City Hall, namely the city manager. And when they deviate from that, we need to bring them back and say, this is not the vision of the council. Now, many people think, well, that's not what's happening right now, but it may be, because she may be following the majority of the four that have got the votes. So it is the function of the elected officials to create the policy and the vision. To execute that will be the city manager.
Alrighty. Got another question here. Oops, just lost it. Hold on a second. Okay. Do you support the red light program and the city manager decision to extend the contract until 2038? Ray, you have the first answer.
I did at first. I thought that he was bringing in great money to the city of Leon Valley. Police officers, we hired a humongous amount of police officers. I believe that it was good for our city. I didn't like the way that it was conducted. I believe that city council voted on it, but I don't like the way the extra 20 years were snuck in. I believe that people should have gotten an opportunity to make a decision on this or to express opinion on it, and I don't believe that they really were. There is a reason why Governor Abbott outlawed that. And they made many studies before they make that decision. And I have to go with Governor Abbott, and I agree. And I think it should be outlawed. And I think that it should be outlawed here in Leon Valley. We can't for another 20 years, but we need to see where the revenue that we receive through that is expended evenly, not just the police department, but also the fire, EMS, and in other areas in city council. Thank you.
Philip.
I'm supportive of the red light camera program. We've got additional police protection that it's provided funding for. What it's doing is cutting down the traffic accidents and violations on the red light camera intersections. In reality, any citation that's given, historically, Leon Valley residents make up less than 10% of those citations. So it is working for us, slowing down the traffic on Bandera, causing less accidents, in providing revenue for things that we need for our public safety.
Josh.
So, like Ray had kind of said, I used to be in favor of the red light cameras, and I used to think they were okay. And that's because I was told that the red light cameras reduce vehicle accidents and they make the streets more safe and they give revenue to the city. Well, I'll tell you, one of those statements is true, but the others are not. And they do give the city more money, but they don't make the streets more safe at all. And actually, if you go to votejoshstevens.com/redlightcameras, I've posted the TxDOT statistics for the Leon Valley crashes that have occurred over the past 10 years. And so I started at 2010 and went all the way through 2019. And what I saw was, after implementing the red light camera system in the beginning of 2017, our traffic crash rate in Leon Valley not only went up, but it went up significantly. And that's been like that for the past 2 years now. And I think that's a problem. And I think that we need to address the problem. So whether it's paying for a third party to come in and audit and see if our camera system is really effective or not. And the chief says that it reduces the crashes, but this is what I was told by an officer. Instead of writing, for example, the crash was at Bandera and Wurzbach, they put 5400 block of Bandera Road. And so, you know what? That doesn't count as an accident. Anyway, I do think we need to get a third party to evaluate the system.
Okay, thank you. Going to ask another question. Well, let me ask one more about staff here. How would you rate the performance of city staff, particularly the city manager and police chief? Are greater transparency and accountability needed? First answer is for Philip.
I think both of those members are doing a tremendous job. I think if you go resident by resident, we're not lacking of any city service. I think they've done a great job in doing, with the direction that they've been given, accomplishing their goals. There is some strife between the mayor and the city manager, but that has nothing, it doesn't affect our city services. That's why I live here. That's why I chose to stay here for the 41 years I've been here, because of the police and fire. And you're looking at things as well. The other city services, I think they've done a great job. And if you start moving them out, you're going to have a tremendous strife within the lower ranks, as well as who's going to want to work for the city of Leon Valley. Why has Leon Valley had so much turnover at the city manager level? We've had a number of city managers with the mayor. So there's more to this, but I think they're doing a fine job.
Josh?
So this is a tricky issue, because I do think that they've done a good job with a lot of subject areas. And I think that they've done a good job with certain tasks that have been given to them. I think that they've there's certain things that they've gotten on top of that maybe we were lacking in the past. But that being said, I also think that the devastation that both of them have contributed to, which is a divided city, completely screws with the ability for the governing body to work for the people. And, you can Google review Leon Valley now, and you see how our reputation has been destroyed. It's been destroyed. We have some serious problems that need to be addressed. And I'm not blind to those problems at all. And you know what? Sometimes people are good at certain things. Like our city manager is very good at certain things and getting things done, including helping get rid of a duly elected official. But that being said, like, she's just not the right fit for the job. And there's somewhere where she can go, and hopefully she won't create a divided city like she's done in Leon Valley. But, sometimes people aren't the right fit for the job. And I realize that. And I realize that the city of Leon Valley government is to work for the people, not against them. And currently we have the two administrators of our city who it appears they're working against the citizens all the time. So for that, I think that we need to address the problem of getting some new people in there.
Ray?
It's a very difficult question to answer, because I think that they're very, very intelligent people. I spoke in city council, and I told them they were all very intelligent people. They're just not utilizing it to the fullest potential. I believe sides have been taken in city council that the city manager or the chief have taken sides on, and they pursue their own agenda. I don't have any problems with them. They do a great job. And this is what really bothers me, is that the chief of police is also the assistant city manager. You're your own boss, and there is no way on God's green earth you should be your own boss. Either it's just like having the chief of police being part of the city manager. No, that's not the way. If you're going to be a police officer, you are going to be a chief, be a chief. If you're going to be a city manager, be a city manager. We need continuity. And who are you going to put your efforts in? The city manager is a very talented person. I think she knows her business. I think she can be successful if she would only, and all of them, the city staff would take the politics out and do their job and not concede to other people in city council.
Okay, here's one. Considering that under the city's charter provisions, one councilor was removed last year, the mayor almost faced forfeiture earlier this year, and another councilor is in the midst of a forfeiture hearing now, will each candidate publicly commit tonight to respect citizens and at the outcome determined at the polls by not initiating or taking action to remove their fellow elected council members throughout their term? Josh?
So, what baffles my mind about this question is that my opponent isn't here to talk. And, she's been at the forefront of initiating all of those. She's been the main contributor and actually initiated 2 out of the 3 herself. So
try to restrict your comments to what you would do, not your opponent.
Okay, so unlike my opponent, I would commit to not undoing your vote at the polls unless there was something that was significant enough where a crime, when the real due process is afforded, when it's not a political sham kangaroo court, and it's an interesting issue, because it's kind of like asking, am I okay with undoing the votes of the people that elected me for another seat? And you know what? I'm not okay with that. And I think that people that are in government that are okay with that, something is significantly wrong with them. Like, that's not their job. They aren't supposed to be undoing the people's votes just because they got elected. And, so for those reasons, I could commit to telling you tonight that unless somebody has been accused and found guilty in a real court of a crime, I will not be forfeiting any council member seat.
Okay, thank you. Ray?
You know, having a 312 for the past city councilman, he didn't get his due process. The recall 312s, any type of admonishment, puts a black eye in Leon Valley. I don't believe that a few people should make a determination of who an elected official should be thrown out. And a citizen that I got to talk to during my walkthroughs, he put it very, very clearly. He says, nobody has the right to terminate an elected official, but the people who put them into the office. They're the only ones that have an opportunity and a right to take anybody out. And I totally agree with him. And this bickering that's going on, it's cost the people in Leon Valley about $600,000 in attorney fees. So I don't support it. I think that this November, the people are going to talk. They're going to speak up. They're going to make a determination of who stays, who goes, and we should give them that power. Thank you.
Thank you. Philip?
So I'm supportive of not trying to take anyone's office away from a 312 hearing. It's costly. It's cost our city its reputation. I look forward to working with my colleagues, not trying to destroy them. We're here to serve the citizens of Leon Valley, not try to remove somebody from office. So if I'm elected, you're not going to find that from me to try to initiate or vote for a 312 hearing trying to remove somebody from office.
Thank you. All right. Where do you stand on how do you plan to protect the LGBT plus community? First answer is for Ray.
I believe that education, it's a big, huge asset to educate our police, our staff, our citizens. And it's always been a stigma of the LGBTQ. And I think that we should have more businesses run by having offices and having cafes. We support them. We should support them into having small business in Leon Valley, and I'm all for it. And hopefully everybody else is that's running for city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Philip?
So I would protect them because everybody's equal under the law. No one should be treated different. And if there are any issues related to how they're being treated by any city staff, I think that needs to be reported. And it may be a hotline that we develop, something along that line that tells us and would report to the council that we have a problem, and we can isolate where that problem is so that we can develop some training for those areas. But from my view, everyone should be treated equally under the law and their rights respected. So that's what I would do, and that's how I would protect them.
Josh?
So, I'm a fan of the Constitution, and the Constitution says all people are created equal. They're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, and those include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think that's important when we address the topics of the LGBTQ community, because unlike other portions of the community, they're usually disproportionately affected whenever there's whether it's hiring and hiring of employees and being employed, or education, or getting financial help, like for COVID. And so I think that when the city council creates policy, they need to make sure that they're reaching that specific group of people, and that there's equal opportunity afforded to those types of people. So, and it reaches across the spectrum. I know we're sticking with the LGBTQ community, but also, people of color and people that come from every walk of life, from every country to the United States. I think we need to give equal opportunity. And as a counselor, that includes making sure that policies we've we pass reflect that value. And also it means making sure that when I appoint people to boards or, whenever I get the opportunity to have a say, that I appoint people that are in these specific types of groups that are usually disproportionately affected.
Okay, thank you. Let me see some of these others. The YouTubers are doing very well tonight with their questions. Okay, what is your position on allowing homeowners in Leon Valley being allowed to use their homes for Airbnb or other short-term rental businesses while generating additional tax revenue for the city? Philip.
I have no issue with somebody using their home as an Airbnb, as long as they pay their taxes, they report it properly, and meet all the codes that are associated with running a business, an Airbnb. But I do not have any issues with somebody doing that. I think it would be great exposure for the city of Leon Valley, give some additional revenue, but there needs to be some compliance with how it should be run.
Okay, Josh.
Similar to Mr. Campos's position, I think that people that own houses in Leon Valley should be afforded the opportunity to execute whatever they want to in that house, given the so long as they're not negatively impacting those that live around them. So, there's some very simple regulations that can be passed, like to, apply for a C of O, to have a fire marshal come in and make sure your smoke detectors are working in your house, similar to what you would have in any type of apartment complex or any hotel. Like, I think that a simple license, pay a small fee every year to be able to carry out Airbnb would help a lot of people, especially those that want to pursue this. And I've stayed at Airbnbs throughout the United States in the past several years. And I got to say, all the places that I've stayed at, they have a reputation to maintain. And because of that, usually the houses are nicer than other houses around them. And usually people invest in them, they keep them up, they make sure they're good. So, I have no reservations with Airbnb or any of those apps where you can rent out your house.
Ray?
I believe that's something that all three of us would agree on. As a matter of fact, I know a person that does that in Leon Valley, and I totally agree that as long as that person follows the rules and regulations that govern that, I don't see any problem with that. Now, there are some homeowners associations that are in Leon Valley that not may authorize, because they're a single dwelling home, and may not authorize businesses to be done in their subdivision. I don't see anything wrong with it, and I think that both of the candidates that are here with me have the same idea, that it would only enhance Leon Valley, and I'm not totally in agreement with that.
Okay, well, we're coming down to the end of the time we have, so we're ready to do our 2-minute wrap-ups. It's Josh's turn again. I guess what we should do actually is start from the end, where Philip starts with the 2-minute closings. And
Well, as we close, I'd like to thank everybody for their time this evening.
you're losing your mic.
We all have different views. Hopefully you've agreed
can't
with
hear
some
you.
of
Can
mine.
you?
You may have disagreed with others. But, I want to pledge to you that even though we might disagree on something, I'll have an open mind and always converse with you. Hey, your point, and accept your point of view. I've lived in Leon Valley for over 41 years. I'm going to tell you, this is my community. But over the last several years, there's been many changes to our city government that have not been happening in a very positive way. We've had articles in the paper that just embarrass us over the past events that have occurred. But those embarrassments are not at the staff level; they're at the elected level. So the other issue that we have is outside influences are gaining hold on our community, and they're disturbing our city council meetings. So I believe that when I'm elected, I'll bring the experience and leadership to serve our citizens, and that my local government experience is going to be key. I look forward to working with all the elected officials, but we need to take care of our staff. All of our citizens depend on their great work. So I encourage everyone to vote. Exercise your voice. When you're at the polls voting, please consider Philip Campos, Leon Valley, City Council, Place 4. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for my fellow candidates for participating. I enjoy your company immensely. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Next is Josh.
So again, I appreciate the League of Women Voters for putting on this event, and also for Nowcast SA for helping us out with getting it available for the community to kind of take part in it given COVID. So I appreciated letting you know a little bit about me and hopefully answering some of your questions. I hope that if you have more questions, that you feel comfortable reaching out to me and to the other candidates. I think our emails might be posted in the YouTube link. And also, you can check out my website. I have policy issues. I have very specific nitty-gritty details, as well as more background information about myself available. It's www.votejoshstevens.com. And Stevens is with a V. So I really appreciate, getting this opportunity. I think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And that in the end, when we have elected officials that are there because they want to actually represent the people that put them there, that things will be much better. And I think that's what we're lacking right now. And so I hope that the power of your vote as a citizen of Leon Valley. The last election, one of the former councilors lost his spot by one single vote. And because, there's no better example of how much every single vote counts than Leon Valley actually last election. And so go out. I know you'll be going and voting for the president and all the other state candidates, but really put some time into seeing about your local candidates and reaching out if you have other questions. I hope that together, whoever is elected will work together to benefit the community. And thank you.
Okay, and finally, Ray.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for putting this event on. I believe that we can give you all the answers that you want to hear, but I feel it's even more imperative that you know the person that you're going to put up in Leon Valley, because this one person is going to represent you, and not just in city council, but in all aspects. And it doesn't matter where you have my sign, my opponent's signs, Republican, it doesn't matter. Whoever gets elected is going to represent everybody in Leon Valley, and not just in city council. So it's imperative that you know who is going into city council. And I'm going to tell you who I am, and hopefully that'll be enough for you to get your vote. I serve our Lord, and not just on weekends. I am a Eucharistic minister, a 4th degree knight with the Knights of Columbus. And I have joined many committees to continue to support the church. I have served our country in the military, in the United States Army. I have served in Korea, and I have served in Fort Hood with the 1st Cavalry during the Vietnam era. And for over 35 years, I have served those who have served our country. And that's what I'm going to continue doing. I'm going to continue to serve the people in Leon Valley. I'm going to continue to serve, because that is what was taught to me. All this experience that I had, the military taught me commitment and loyalty. The VA taught me to be in mediation and investigation and how to deal with people. All this experience that I bring in, 35 years of experience in one place and made it successful, I believe will benefit me in city council and to bringing the people together, especially the city councils. So I'm asking for your vote Rey Orozco, Place 4, Leon Valley City Council. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to thank all of you, the candidates, the people who are watching on YouTube, people who submitted questions. You've all been wonderful. I just want you to go out and vote, and vote for the people that you think are the ones that will do the best job. Got to put in a plug for the League of Women Voters publications. Our voters guide has just been published. It doesn't include Leon Valley, unfortunately, but it includes all the candidates from president down to the county level, the constables, the commissioners, all that. It's completely nonpartisan. We ask all the candidates questions, and all the candidates in each race are asked the same question. And so you can compare them side by side and choose whoever's answers align most with your viewpoints. The voters guides will be in libraries, including the Leon Valley Library, Friday afternoon or Saturday. And we have a good supply of them. They should be available to everyone. And we've also got our online Vote 411. You just go to vote411.org, you enter your address, and what comes up is a list of all the races that are just on your ballot based on your address. So you don't have to worry about all the other races that you're not going to be voting on. You can, again, compare the candidates side by side, and you can check a box next to the ones you want to vote for and print out a list of those and take it with you to the polls. And then you just have this little list, and makes voting really fast, which is the best way to do it these days. You want to stay safe, and you're done. It's just, Josh sounded like like he must be a league member or something. He was saying all the things we say. One vote really counts, and it's just really important to get out there and do it, because that's your role as a citizen, is to use that power to choose your candidates and make a difference. So again, I thank you for attending, and just go
One
out.
more thing, early voting starts on the 13th.
Starts on the 13th, runs through the 30th. And election day, of course, is November 3rd. And just please be safe and go vote. Thank you.
And thank you all.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.